Are you a life coach who wants to make a difference in the world? Do you want to share your wisdom, passion, and experience with others? Do you want to grow your business and reach more clients? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need Life Coaching Today. Life Coaching Today is the largest platform on the web for life coaches, therapists, and hypnotherapists who want to enhance their visibility, gain exposure, and connect with clients. Life Coaching Today is more than just a directory. It's a network of opportunities. By joining Life Coaching Today, you will get access to a magazine where you can be featured and connect with over 30 million subscribers. Be a guest to our podcasts with over 55,000 subscribers. A directory where you can showcase your profile, services, and testimonials to thousands of potential clients. And that's not all. Life Coaching Today also offers a free 30-minute coaching session on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where you can be coached or meet your next client. A flexible pricing plan where you can choose the best option for your budget and goals. A dedicated customer service team where you can get help and guidance whenever you need it. So what are you waiting for? Join Life Coaching Today and take your life coaching career to the next level. Visit www.lifecoachingtoday.com and sign up today. Life Coaching Today, the largest portal on the web connecting coaches, therapists, and hypnotherapists.
She's a winner. And welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where you take enlightened entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics in the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. And here's your host, Miss Carol Boston.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. We've been on hiatus for a few weeks for a various myriad of reasons. However, one thing hasn't changed, and that is I'm your weather girl. It is a freaking hot day for this time of year in sunny South Florida. So when you chime in the comments, let us know where you're chiming in from and what the weather's like where you are. I've been doing lots of great things. One of the things is I went to an amazing leadership conference, and Jeff and I are going to be talking about that. I'm so excited to have my guest, Jeff Purdue, back in the house. So let's bring Jeff on.
Hello.
How are you?
I am fantabulous. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. I was just thinking of some things. I actually grabbed my notes from the leadership conference that I attended a couple of weeks ago so we can talk about a couple of things, bounce a couple of things off you. There were some amazing speakers. One of the things I loved, and I think I told you this, Jeff, about, I think maybe in January, February, I had invited a lady named Katie Yutter out of Tallahassee to come down and speak to the Women's Executive Club. And she did. And she didn't charge us anything. Came all the way down from Tallahassee to Fort Lauderdale. She was amazing. She's done 6 Ironmans, and she's getting ready to swim the English Channel in July. I mean, badass, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I did as a gift when she came to speak at the WEC is I got her a bracelet just like the one that I have that on the inside says, "You're a badass." So I get to the conference, and it was the day of the opening ceremonies, and she spies me down the hallway, and she runs up and grabs me and gives me a big hug, and she goes, "See, I haven't taken it off. I still have it on." It was really cool because I haven't taken mine off in almost 3 years. So I think the only time it's going to come off is when I have to get a colonoscopy. They won't let you wear jewelry.
Okay. I'm like, that's a whole different area. Like, but okay.
They won't let you wear any kind of jewelry when you get that done. But yeah, I'm going to bring up a couple of things for us to chat about from the leadership conference and from my dad's funeral. Like I say, I've been away for a few weeks. So bring us up to date on what's up with you.
Oh my goodness. A lot. You have missed a lot. I have been trying to get a hold of Carol for a while where it's nice to finally connect again. It's like being home. It's like being home.
I've been under the radar for sure.
Definitely under the radar, not answering phones,
not doing Facebook Live.
Not doing Facebook Live. I'm I will attack her later. But the RV, we got the bypass done this weekend. So that's the most recent. Everything is set up there. I'm back on in Adrian, in doing the final countdown kind of stuff.
Great.
For the actual leave, it's probably going to be mid-June, early July. So I'm really excited about that. I have the Orange Dragonfly Center. It's like right there. Everything is going great there. And have I talked to you since I got my certifications, my tantric certifications?
No.
And
Mm-mm.
oh my goodness, you missed an amazing workshop. I did. I am now tantric certified, both in Reiki and in practitioners. So, um, doing a lot more energy work, which makes me feel all kinds of ways because we've talked about that before. How I understand it, I do it, I work on myself, I do it all for me, but doing it for other people is a little different.
Sure.
And then it's but I just did a really great workshop on a tantric workshop on how to unlock your true awesome life. And it was this really cool odyssey that we went on. Really amazing stuff. And it's now in my creators club. So yeah, just a lot.
Tell me more about the Dragonfly Center. When you leave Adrian in mid-June, are you headed straight to Louisiana to look at that property? What are you going to be doing
Pretty
there?
much. Yeah, pretty much. I'm leaving here. I have one stop on the way, one planned major stop on the way. I might make one more because it is kind of a cruise. Yeah, so I'm going to be going down there. I'm looking at property. We kind of know that it's going to be here. Like I'm pretty almost positive, unless they tell me that I cannot get zoned for this. But the thing is that that area, it's slim to none. Like I've done some research. Like I think I know exactly where it is. Which part of that piece of property is it going to be? I don't know, but yeah, we're going to find the best one, and it's going to be amazing on the lake. We're going to have really awesome access, only about 30 minutes outside the French Quarter. So, like,
wow.
Yeah, and the fact that I can do both, I could be close to the city and far enough away that it is a retreat center, is amazing.
They can go to Bourbon Street and get drunk and come to your place and clean up.
Exactly. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I've my partners and I have been really working hard to kind of come up with what it's going to look like and how to best serve our people on multiple different levels, because my partners and they're not all life coaches. So some of them do other things, and it's interesting to see how this is all coming together for the three of us.
That's awesome. Do I know your other two partners?
You from my Facebook, I'm sure you've
Okay.
seen her. They've all been on the Creative Nomad show. They're all there.
Okay. One of the things that's cool that you and I both do, right, is we continue to invest in our own personal development and growth.
Oh yeah.
So I love to hear that that you got those certifications. One of the gentlemen, have you ever heard of the book, The Power of One?
I have heard of it. I don't think I've read it.
Neither had I. It's by John O'Leary. So he was in my opinion, the best of all the speakers there. I mean, he was heads and tails above Michael Phelps and some of the other ones. Michael Phelps was considered a keynote, but he didn't really speak. He was interviewed, and that's how he spoke. But This gentleman, he comes out, he holds his hands up like this. He has no fingers. His thumbs are kind of like that. At the age of 9, he had third-degree burns over 97% of his body.
Wow.
97%. So his fingers eventually got amputated. The dude can play the piano. So it's just, he's amazing. And he talks about how we look up to people. You and I have mentors. We are mentors for other people. But he said as a boy of 9 years old, he was looking at these 11-year-old boys who were playing with what? Gasoline and matches. And they're out in this field doing whatever. So gosh, they're the cool guys. So he goes back to his dad's garage and he tells an amazing story. I won't go into the story, that somehow we think it takes the real thing, but sometimes we only need the fumes. Mm-hmm. And when he lit the match, he didn't realize that the fumes from the gas can would catch fire And he not only blew himself up in 97% covered in third-degree burns, blew up the garage. And he's lying there in the hospital bed, and he hears his dad's voice. And now his eyes are closed. He's on an intubator. He can't talk. He's totally wrapped up. And he's like, if I'm not already dead, my dad's going to kill me. Right? And his dad comes in, and it was just powerful the way he told it, Jeff. He couldn't look at his dad, couldn't see him. And his dad said, I wanted to let you know how proud I am that you're my son and that I love you, right? So to me, that was super, super powerful, just knowing the difficult family that I came from. But another key thing that happened on this Power of One is he and his dad loved to go to baseball games. And I don't remember if it was the New York Mets or Yankees or whatever it was, but they loved to go to baseball games. And this guy named Buck was the voice of the team. And he had only been in the hospital a couple of days, and all of a sudden he hears Buck's voice. And Buck sits down on the chair next to him, and all he says to him is, kid, wake up. Right? But he couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Guy
leaves. Guy comes back every day, and tells him to wake up. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but he was in the hospital for 5.5 months. And what this guy kept telling him every day is, when you wake up and you're ready, we're going to have a John O'Leary day at the ballpark. That was his incentive. We're going to have a John O'Leary day at the ballpark. It turns out at the end of the story, you hear this guy, Buck, I can't think of his last name. He's actually in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, he was a big time dude. And so this whole Power of One was his mother talked to a friend, and she and her husband went to dinner, and they talked to another friend about how John had all these burns. And this guy, Buck, hears, and he thought, I have to do something. And this whole story around the Power of One, that what this one man did for this boy and what it turned into is incredible. Super motivational, just incredible.
Just the fact that he overheard it, like, it's just there. It wasn't like it was something he was in the conversation even.
Right.
He just heard the conversation.
And he talks about how, and this was an audience of leaders. I think there's like 400 people there. And he says, when your eyes are closed, you can hear a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, just think of like one of my very good friends, Barris, is legally blind. His sense of hearing, my hearing is really good. His is through the roof. But he talks about how important that is as a leader. Are you closing your eyes and listening to your team? Are you listening to your people? Are you distracted by your vision? We've got guests here, Jeff.
We have guests.
Vanessa in the house. I believe in you, Uncle Jeffy. Oh, look at that, Uncle Jeffy. Michael Faber's in the house. Michael Faber says, let's get it. Hello, Michael. Let us know what the weather's like. So big a listen. Yeah, exactly. Listening is so, so important. And he also talked about the power of his mother getting this piano teacher. And he said if it hadn't been for this piano teacher, he probably would have died or committed suicide.
Wow.
She came every day. Every day. I forgot, for years. I mean, she was there, and it wasn't just that she was teaching him piano. There was so much more he learned. By her being
music
there.
lessons. Yeah, music lessons they've proven that it affects every portion of your life. One of the reasons why parents are so inclined to make sure that their young kids get music lessons. Being a band kid myself.
Me too.
Kind of knowing this from.
Wait. What instrument did you play?
I played clarinet.
No way. So did I.
I ended up playing the whole range of clarinets from E flat all the way down to contrabass. And then I did saxophone, mallet percussion, a little bit of piano. Like, don't make me like pull out, but I could do keyboards. Like, I'll be okay. Vanessa, actually, funny story. Just because she's on, and I just saw that. She had my clarinet. One of the things I lost in my brain surgery is I get a lot of pressure at the back of my head. So And it still happens. I get a lot of pressure in the back of my head, and I couldn't play wind instruments.
I can
So
imagine.
it really just messes up everything. So
Wait, I have to interrupt. How cool is that? I played clarinet. I don't know which one. There's this whole range. To me, it was just a clarinet in the concert band, and I played tenor sax in a jazz band. Have we ever talked about this?
I think we mentioned it once, like a while ago.
Okay.
But it's been a long time. Yeah, I mean, and so music is such an important thing. It's been like my original major was music theater. That's why I went to Wayne State for. So, it's definitely been a big influence in my life and a big influence. And I can understand how that could be, a good music teacher could be everything. Miss Peters was, shout out to Miss Peters. If I ever find this woman, and I've tried, I don't think she's on social media.
Okay.
Or she's dead. She was older. She was probably she shouldn't be dead, but she probably just left town. But she literally saved, because my high school years were very I'm trying to come up with a good term that my mom's not going to sit there. What are you talking about? They were, they were a little different. My parents had divorced when I was a sophomore in high school. There was a lot of tension, a lot of fighting, it wasn't a nice divorce. It was quite messy. And Miss Peters, my grandmother almost died. My mom almost died. There was
a lot of turmoil.
A lot of turmoil. That's the word I was looking for. So she saved me, kept me sane, and did some amazing things. I got to go, she played French horn, and she often did the Broadway shows. And just so happens when Phantom was in town that year, she took me backstage. She took me into a rehearsal, got clearance for me to go to a rehearsal. I got to play in the orchestra. I got to go backstage and see all the stuff, and then actually conduct the orchestra.
Oh, wow.
It was absolutely tears, chills, tears 30 years later. She also gave me she's the reason why I was in Les Mis, was because the day that I didn't get Aladdin, I walked into her office crying my eyes out because it was the best performance I've ever done anywhere for this audition, and I didn't get it because I was a little white boy trying to play an Arabic boy in a school that had them. So I walked into the room, and I was crying my eyes out, and she goes, "Well, guess what I got today?" and handed me the papers for the audition for Les Mis, because all the kids are local. So I got to play Gavroche.
And that was meant to be, right? Trusting in the process and that everything works out. So I'm going to jump in because, I don't use that word why, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he talks about how most of us go through life and we ask these 3 questions. And then he did what? He taught us how to reframe it. I'm the queen of reframe. I thought this was so good. The first question he said most people ask when things go on in their life is, why me? He talked about that. And then the second question is, well, who cares? Right? And he talks about how indifference can lead to death, right? People just become indifferent. And the third thing people typically ask is, well, what else can I do? And you can kind of hear the tone of my voice. That's what people do. They're disgusted. They're negative. And he took that. You and I talk a lot about gratitude. I'm looking at my notes. He talked about choosing gratitude and being grateful. And one of the ways he tied that into leadership, he said he was talking about when the fire took over his body. What are we taught to do? Stop, drop, and roll. Mm-hmm. What did he do? He panicked. He ran, which did what? Fan the flames, made it worse. So he made a comment to the leaders in the room. And I can't remember exactly how he said it, but you could hear everybody go, right? Panic instead of drop, rock, instead of doing what you know you're supposed to do, was to panic. So then he went back and he said, okay, let's look at those 3 questions. And this is what I want you to chat about, because you know your mission with the Dragonfly Center. You know what you're here for. You know your purpose. And he said, so you reframe the question instead of saying, why me? You go, why me? And start looking at all the things, the gifts that you've been given. Right? And so then he changed the second one is about who cares. You do. What is your purpose? What is your mission? What are you up to? Which you're definitely on your path. And the third thing he says, instead of saying, well, what else can I do? Is what more can I do to make tomorrow better than today? And he says he asks those 3 questions at the end of every day before he goes to bed. Give me your thoughts on those questions.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And it's a great practice for you to get into, like, because you are given so many things, right? We have so many gifts every single day, in every moment. And there's all kinds of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So when you actually start seeing these gifts show up and you start acknowledging them, number one, they start showing up more. Law of focus.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Then when you start realizing why me, why it's me, what is it next? Why is it me? Why am I uniquely the one that's in this path?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard, right? This path is not always easy. Life is not always easy. It's not going to be easy. I'm sorry. I've tried the easy route. It does not work.
It doesn't even exist. You were trying to create magic or something.
I am a magical being, but and hi Heather, welcome.
And hello, Spencer. We didn't say hello to Spencer.
Oh, hey, Spencer. Spencer's so many amazing people on this live. I thank you so much for being here today. So really, it's knowing what your purpose is and knowing that purpose is not what you're doing. It's not a doing, it's a being.
Right.
Okay. It's once you start that, and then your mission is your doing. What most people call their purpose is actually their mission.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or your movement, whatever word you want to use there. Right.
Sure. Yep.
I use movement. Purpose really comes down to an experience you want to have and give away. Okay. I have a whole exercise where we go through it. Carol's been through it. It's, beautiful exercise. And what ends up happening, what you end up seeing is that when you separate those two, my purpose is to be and to experience. And how I express that is through my movement or my mission or, what word you're going to put there. And when they're separated, you don't panic as much around it. You don't have as much anxiety. It's just the natural thing for this experience. This is how you express that. And it doesn't become this big grandiose, I'm not living my purpose. Well, are you not feeling?
Oh, you crack me up because you and I've talked about how to separate our who from our do, right? That's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Remember when I got fired from corporate America for God knows what reason, I did what? I spent my entire 401k looking for a job because all I could see was that I was a buttoned up corporate sales professional. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to separate who I was from what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't have a clue.
So many people are like that. So many people, their purpose, their whole life identity is what they do. Or it could be that they're a mom, or it could be that they're a dad, or it could be, whatever that looks like. I'm a husband. Okay, well, what happens when you have a divorce? You're no longer a husband. You were somebody before that. And it's so hard to get back to that because so much of your life, actually, it's funny where I'm at now. Renee's son just moved out. He moved out yesterday. I came home, he left. Kind of funny. And now it's like, okay, a lot of her identity was around being a mom. Like, that's what she did when she was home. She was a mom. And they're adults, and they've been adults. It's, all of her kids are grown, and she's still a mom, but it's different. It changes. The flavor changes, right?
But let's go back, because I remember one of the talks that I gave, and I had a lady in the audits volunteer, and I had everybody write down 3 things, who am I? I am, and they write them down. So she stood up and she said, I'm a mother, I'm a nurse, and I'm a marathon runner. And I said, thank you, but you're none of those things. Those are all things that you do. What are your ways of being that allows you to do that? And that's where it really gets people to stop and think, right? Maybe one of her ways of being as a mom is she's very empathetic, or she's very loving. Those are ways of being. And I think that's really important that we all look at that in our leadership, right? And you and I've talked about how it's somewhere on a whiteboard around here, but my top 3 ways of being that I keep in front of me to remind myself, because I don't always feel this way, is that I'm a powerful, courageous, loving leader. Those are my top 3 ways of being, because I don't always feel courageous, right? But I get to remind myself, oh, no, that's who I am, so that I can then get back into action.
Yeah, I have my desktop has what I call my launch pad, and I read it every day before I start anything. I make sure I close all my things at the end of the night, and every morning I wake up, and that's what I open my computer to. And it does. It has who I am. What is my purpose? What world am I creating? What is my creed? And really makes me refocus myself before I start talking to people, because and trying to work and trying to do that, and it really helps. And one of my, I always laugh, is that one of the things I create myself to be is an instrument of peace in the perceived chaos. And that's the hardest one for me.
Because Alex likes to come out.
Alex is my alter ego. He deals with tech. He's not a nice guy. He is tech support. When you call tech support, you're going to talk to Alex. Typically, if you ask about tech support, Alex shows up. I try not to, as much as I've been working really hard on not showing up as Alex, but I still get a message, and I have to tell Alex, no, I take care of this. I got this. It's okay. I got this. But it's definitely something that challenges me, right?
Sure. We all have that.
It's natural, right? Just who I am most of the time, 99.9% of the time. It's who I am at my best and at my core. So how do you find that? I guess my question for you would be, when you're going through, how do you find that for yourself? How do you find that for yourself when you're being challenged in that way?
How do I find myself, or how do I look at my ways of being?
How do you come back to your ways of being from when you're being challenged? Like I was saying about the instrument of peace, I get challenged that way, and I have to come back to that.
Right.
How do you find that for yourself?
Well, one of the things I do is, and like I say, it's been moved, but there's a big whiteboard about this big, and it's in big, massive red permanent ink. And it says, I am a powerful, courageous, loving leader. And I signed it and dated it. So I made a contract with myself. And I think what you said earlier about awareness, I'm really aware of who I am in any present moment. And I have learned or honed the skill or the ability to just stop and go and take time and be quiet, remind myself. And then I say, what would a powerful, courageous, loving leader do in this very moment? Yeah. And then I choose to step into that, whether I feel like it or not. I think that's one of the important things, is we don't always get to do what we feel like. And we get to do the things that we don't feel like doing. Right? So we have like 1 minute. We're almost out of time. You'll have to come back again, because another super keynote speaker there was John Doolittle. John Doolittle is a highly decorated Navy SEAL, war veteran. He swam the English Channel. He's the one that encouraged her to swim the English Channel. And his talk was the second most powerful for me in that leadership. And one of the things when you come back that we'll talk about is he said, this is something he keeps in front of him. I actually wrote it verbatim so I wouldn't forget it. He said, he talked about hazing week. These guys go through unbelievable hell to become a Navy SEAL. If y'all don't know what it takes to be a SEAL, it's unbelievable. But he said one of the things he learned, it's taken through his whole life, is if you do the little things right, the big things will take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. And then the caveat, he said, you can put this in parentheses, is the little things are the hard things. And we're going to stop on that. And we're going to have you back and we're going to talk about that, because sometimes it is the little things that we get to do consistently that we just don't want to do, right? They're the hard things. I'm guilty. Mm-hmm. We'd rather go do something fun or chase a squirrel or whatever. But he taught some powerful lessons in his talk as well. So this has been awesome. If you have anything you want to promote real quick,
just hit me up on social media or check out trueawesomelife.com. I have great deals. I have a couple really great giveaways there.
Okay.
And yeah, that's probably the best way to get in touch with me right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm just getting back in the saddle, so you can private message me or ping me anywhere, send me an email. But this has been the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. I'm so excited to have my guest, Jeff, here. Jeff knows I love him more than anybody else could love him. And I've just been a little under the radar and getting back in the swing of things. Come back next week. We'll be here for the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. And we tell you every time, we know you have courage, and courage leads to a little bit of confidence. I'm going to tell you today, what one thing, just one, are you not doing that you really, really, really want to do? Take one step towards it. You get started and you'll get there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Vanessa and Heather and Spencer and Michael. And let me scroll up before I forget. And Vanessa again. Thank you so much for coming. Join us next week. Share it with your friends. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, brought to you by Life Coaching Today magazine, empowering your health, your business, your community, your life. Check out the latest issue today at lifecoachingtoday.com. Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.